What's up, people? No reason to comment on the stock market. We all know how December's going to pan out. No matter what happens, you're afraid of interest rates getting raised or lowered, whatever the case was in China. Did you really? Was that really some sort of concern to you? Don't you know this is America? We don't care about anybody else right now. Eventually, we'll close the borders to all immigrants and commerce, and we'll just be a self-sustaining Chinese walled-up nation. Then we'll just tell China that we're not going to pay them back, and everything's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. What we're going to talk about today is sports gambling and the reason that sports gambling can be your best friend. I know I shouldn't be advocating more gambling on this show that I do here, but I'm going to. It's because when the times are running good, as they are right now, you think that you know exactly what's going on. You think you got it all figured out. You think you should even have a job. You're making so much money sports gambling. That's what it's been like for me for the past 4 weeks. Brave picks, massive picks, against the grain picks. Teasers, combos, parlays, went against all I stood for, and every single thing has worked out. Went with Vic when he was the hot hand. Stayed with the Saints. Got right back on the Dallas bandwagon when Wade Phillips was fired. Of course, we've been taking against the Jets every week, which brings me to the Jets. And this is what it's going to be, what is going to happen, and how we're going to make money for the rest of the year. I am a Jets fan. I have seen nothing but misery. Nothing but the agony of defeat, the losses taken out of the hands of victories numerous times, elation, hope, every kind of emotion that has gone and come and gone with the Jets has come down to this. A season where I'm teaching my son what it really means to be a Jet fan and how that you can never feel good about it, what your team is doing, until something actually is in black and white with the big W staring at you in the face, because nothing is guaranteed except misery and agony when you're a Jets fan. Now, if you're a Jets fan, you knew all the talk, and we wanted to just stay strong, how we weren't beating anybody and that we were lucky. We weren't beating anybody with a winning record, and how we were lucky to just be where we were. Now, I took offense to that because, yeah, we got some breaks, but you have to be a semi-good team to make those breaks into wins, and that's what the Jets were doing. They weren't a bad team. They weren't a great team. But are there really any great teams in the NFL right now? The reason that they did this salary capping and what they did in the NFL was to make these teams more along the same lines. But every year, as long as Tom Brady's in the league and Belichick is still coaching, I always pick the Patriots to win the Super Bowl every year. Every year. And then when Michael Vick came back, I said we're going to have a Patriots versus Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl. And people thought I was nuts. People thought I was crazy. That Tom Brady might have seen his better days. Can't believe that actually came out of somebody's mouth. Then Michael Vick, he's not going to be able to get it right. They're not going to like him in Philly. All that stuff. And what it's coming down to is looks like it's going to be a Philadelphia, New England Patriots Super Bowl. But that's not where the story is going to head today. It's about being a Jet fan and knowing what it's going to come down to. Right now, Jets fans, you know that it's going to come down to, if we're lucky, having to beat the Buffalo Bills to make it into the playoffs. And if you didn't know that after the first quarter of that Patriots game, if you didn't know that, you're not a real Jets fan. Because a real Jets fan knows never get excited about everything. Never let your emotions out. Because one thing that's been proven over the last 40 years of being a Jets fan, the more hyped they are, the harder the fall is going to be at the end of the year. And there has never been a more hyped team in the NFL, in the Jets' history, than this team here. With the hard knocks, with the Rex Ryan. And I'm not saying that I don't like the Rex Ryan, and I don't like the talk, and I don't like the hard knocks. I like going into a team. If you're going to be a football team, and if you're going to be a coach, and they're going to ask you, who do you think's going to win? What are you going to say? You're going to say, my team's going to win. Or are you going to actually say, you know what? When they ask you, do you think you got a chance to win? I love when they ask you, do you think you got a chance to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers next week in Pittsburgh? So if I was a coach, either I'm going to be, you know what? I know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I'm not going to even allow my team to go to Pittsburgh. You know what? We're not even going to show up for the game because that's Why should we show up? Because we've got no shot. Is that what you want the coach to say? No. You're going to go in there and say, we're going to kick their asses. We're going to run all over them. Our defense is great. And you want to be that kind of guy. You're going to talk the talk. So what? You don't walk the walk every once in a while. But here, now it's come back to bite us. But you know what? I don't think it's the talking. I don't think it's anything. What is happening right now, after the first quarter and after the halftime and after the debacle in New England, if they've been on the Jets now, for some of these players don't know what it means to be a true Jet. What it means to be a true Jet is that there is a curse. And if you don't think it's true, then you're not a real sports fan. Curses do exist in sports. Just like the Matrix and Skynet control the stock market, curses do exist in sports. And now the curse of the Jets is that the more hype, the hype meter went off the chart. So what that meant, now that the hype meter went off the chart due to Rex Ryan and all the hype in the media of New York and stating that we were going to be the best team and Super Bowl champs, the hype meter is off the charts. So what that means is that the heartbreak now has to be at equal levels to make it all, make the curse right. If the hype level wasn't off the charts, the heartbreak wouldn't have been so bad because we would have lost the game in Denver or Cleveland. Or we would have lost to the Houston Texans. We would have lost those games, so then our confidence wouldn't be so high. So then the higher the confidence level, now the crash has to be that much greater. We're going into Pittsburgh. We're a 7-point underdog. We were the greatest team in football. Now we're going into Pittsburgh as a 7-point dog. And you think we're going to go into Chicago and win that game? Come on. So it's going to come down to the Buffalo Bills, and we're going to have all the stars aligned again just to make it into the playoffs. Now, yesterday the money line was only 180. Don't you think Miami, with a must-win game for the Jets in the new Meadowlands Stadium, was only, what was the spread, 6 points? I mean, the money line, 6 points was fair, but the money line should have been 220, 240, 250. No way Miami's got to win this game, right? You had to take the points because you knew if the Jets were going to squeak that out, it was going to be an ugly, disgusting game just like it was. So the bottom line, oh, and I said it, nothing matters. I can tell you I went 13-1 over the last 14 weeks. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean anything to you, except you know that I bet against the Jets every week. And I especially told you that when they get smoked by New England, which I thought they would be, you got to take that money, just got to roll it over into the next week. You know what? With the Pittsburgh Steelers, I might not even want to lay that 7 points just in the rare instant, in the rare, I can't even imagine them beating the Steelers in Pittsburgh. But I'm going to have to probably take all that money and put it on the money line. I'm going to have to lay out the cash because I don't want to worry about the points because I know what the end result's going to be. I don't want to get messed up by some garbage field goal and the Jets only lose by 4 and I lose the money. I'm going to have to take the money line and lay the cash. Because you know what? They are not going to win the next 3 games in a row. So if you take the Steelers, you're going to have to bet the money line. They're not going to beat the Bears. And you know what? When it comes down to it, it's going to be the money is going to come when the Buffalo Bills take the Jets out of the playoffs. Now, if you're a real Jet fan, as much as you might want to admit this to yourself, that's what it's going to be like. You know it's coming down to that. You know it, right? When in the first quarter, when we were getting annihilated by the Patriots, you knew it then. And if you didn't know it then, you don't know what it means to be a true Jets fan. All right, let's see what the stock market's doing. We're loving U.S. Steel still. We're loving dry ships. LLNW, sitting there flat. We're liking the JBL, back over 17. We're loving the Google. It's almost to our price. We got 4 points to go to 600. That was a no-brainer. Oh, you hate when I say no-brainer. So we like the dry ships. We like the JBL. We like the X. We like the Google. And it's pretty hard not to make money going long in the stock market. And I know everyone's waiting for this correction to happen. It's not going to happen. It's going to happen slightly in January. And then we'll make back up. And then maybe in March, we'll have a little bit of a 6% pullback. And then it's off to the races. Get into the Dow 20 Thou crew. Dow 20 Thou. Say it with me. Dow 20 Thou. It's happening It's inevitable. Interest rates are going to remain at zero. There is no world war. The world wars will come after 2012. Secretly, everybody thinks the world's going to end then, and then we'll see if we can progress as a society, as a human race after December. Dow 20 thou. Don't ever deny yourself what you know is going to happen.
I would much prefer Krull.